The evening had a soft, golden glow, and the air was filled with laughter and the faint smell of fresh flowers from the small garden that surrounded the backyard. She had always loved gatherings like this, not too big, not too small, just enough people to feel cozy and connected. Tonight, she was surrounded by friends she had known for years. People who shared her sense of humor and her love for stories, little jokes, and playful teasing. It was one of those nights where worries seemed to vanish, replaced by smiles, laughter, and the easy rhythm of familiar voices. She wore a simple dress that made her feel comfortable and confident. It wasn't extravagant or flashy, just a soft fabric that moved gently with her steps. She had picked it because it felt like her, something that didn't demand attention but still felt special. Her friends immediately noticed, of course, and teasing began almost instantly. One friend, always the joker, leaned in with a mischievous grin and said, "You know, if you keep wearing dresses like that, someone might just fall in love and propose to you." Everyone laughed, and she laughed too, shaking her head. She waved her hand, dismissing it with a smile. "Oh, come on, that's just a joke. I'm not ready for anything like that." Even as she said it, she couldn't help but feel a small flutter of curiosity deep down. The idea was ridiculous, and yet it made her wonder, even for a moment, what it would be like if something so unexpected actually happened. The evening continued with casual chatter. People moved around the garden. Some gathered near the small fountain. Others lingered by the tables with snacks and drinks. She found herself caught up in stories from friends who were sharing experiences from work, travel, and life in general. Every story was met with laughter, nods, and occasional playful comments that made everyone feel included. She loved these moments because they were genuine. There were no masks, no pretenses, just people enjoying each other's company. Somewhere in the middle of the laughter, she noticed a small butterfly that had found its way into the garden. It landed on a flower nearby, delicate and quiet, and for a moment, everything else seemed to fade. She watched it for a while, marveling at how something so fragile could be so captivating. It reminded her of the beauty in simple things, the little moments that could be overlooked if one was too busy worrying about bigger matters. She smiled to herself, thinking about how life often had tiny surprises waiting just around the corner. Her friends noticed her pause and teased her gently, asking what had caught her attention. She pointed to the butterfly, and they all turned to look. One friend joked, "Maybe it's here to deliver a message about love, just like your dress might tonight." She laughed again, brushing off the comment, but she felt an unexpected warmth spread through her chest. There was a lightness in the air, a feeling that perhaps this night, simple as it was, might hold more than just casual fun. As the night went on, the group moved to the small patio, where fairy lights twinkled overhead, casting a soft glow that made everything feel magical. Music played quietly in the background, a mix of familiar tunes and gentle melodies that made people hum along or tap their feet. She found herself chatting with different friends, sharing little jokes and stories, and occasionally catching glimpses of the stars above. It was a perfect balance of laughter and quiet reflection, and she cherished every second. At one point, someone brought up an old story from their college days, and everyone burst into laughter at the memories. She listened, smiling, and realized how much she valued these friendships, the way they could make her feel at home, even when life outside was hectic. She joined in the laughter, adding her own playful comment about how the past seemed so silly now, but had shaped them all into who they were today. It was comforting to know that some things never changed, that certain bonds remained strong no matter how much life evolved. Later, she wandered near the edge of the garden, where the soft hum of the night seemed to blend with the laughter from inside. She looked around, feeling a strange mixture of contentment and curiosity. It was just a casual night with friends, yet she couldn't shake the small thought that lingered from earlier, the joke about the dress and love. She shook her head, smiling at herself, thinking how silly it was to even consider it seriously. But deep down, a tiny seed of wonder had been planted, one that she didn't quite understand yet. The night wore on, and people began to say their goodbyes. Hugs were exchanged, promises to meet again soon were made, and laughter echoed as cars drove away, leaving the quiet hum of the garden behind. She stayed for a little while longer, letting the calm of the night settle over her. The stars twinkled above, and the soft breeze carried the faint scent of flowers and earth. She took a deep breath, feeling grateful for the evening, for the friends, and for the moments that felt so alive and genuine. As she finally prepared to leave, glanced back at the dress she had worn. It had been a simple choice, something that felt natural and comfortable. Yet tonight, it had been the subject of jokes, laughter, and light-hearted teasing. She smiled to herself, realizing how something so ordinary could somehow be remembered, even joked about in ways that felt significant. The joke about love and marriage had been just that, a joke, but it had also sparked a quiet curiosity. A small hint of possibility that perhaps life could surprise her in ways she hadn't imagined. Walking back to her home, she felt a mix of emotions. There was joy from the evening, gratitude for the friends she cherished, and a lingering sense of wonder about what might come next. Life had a way of turning small moments into meaningful memories, and tonight had been full of them. She didn't know it yet, but this simple night, this casual joke, and this dress would linger in her mind far longer than she expected, setting the stage for something entirely unexpected and life-changing in the months to come. The night ended with a smile, a heart full of warmth, and a quiet excitement for the unknown adventures that awaited her, all beginning with something as simple as a joke about a dress and love. A few weeks had passed since that light-hearted evening, yet the memory of the joke about the dress lingered quietly in her mind. Life had returned to its usual rhythm: work, errands, and small routines, but the playful laughter of that night sometimes returned to her thoughts, unexpectedly making her smile. She tried to push it aside most of the time, reminding herself that it was just a silly joke. Yet, deep down, there was a small, curious part of her that wondered if life could indeed surprise her in strange and wonderful ways. One morning, she received an invitation to a community event in her town. It wasn't anything fancy, just a local gathering where people shared stories, crafts, and food. She decided to attend, thinking it would be a chance to meet familiar faces and enjoy a calm afternoon away from her usual routine. She carefully picked out a dress for the occasion, something soft and cheerful, feeling comfortable but also subtly confident. As she looked at herself in the mirror, she laughed softly, thinking about the joke from that party weeks ago. The event was lively and cheerful. People moved around, chatting, tasting food, and sharing stories. She wandered from booth to booth, admiring the crafts and sampling little snacks. The warmth of the community, the easy chatter, and the smiles around her made her feel content and at ease. She noticed children playing nearby, their laughter echoing softly, and the gentle hum of music playing in the background added a pleasant rhythm to the afternoon. As she moved toward a small seating area, she felt a sudden sense of recognition. A man was seated there, looking at a small display of photographs from a recent local exhibition. She froze for a brief moment, her heart skipping a beat. She had met him once before, briefly, at a mutual friend's gathering several months ago. Back then, their encounter had been casual and polite, a simple exchange of greetings and a few words. But now, seeing him again, she felt a strange pull, curious spark that she hadn't expected. He looked up and their eyes met. For a moment, the world around them seemed to blur slightly, leaving only the two of them in focus. There was a faint smile on his face, one that mirrored the warmth she felt inside. He stood up and walked toward her, extending a hand in greeting. "I didn't expect to see you here," he said, his voice friendly but carrying a subtle note of surprise. She returned the smile, shaking his hand, feeling an unusual mix of excitement and nervousness. "Neither did I," she replied, trying to sound casual. Even as her mind raced with curiosity, they began to walk together through the event, chatting about the displays and the people they both knew. At first, the conversation was light and easy, filled with casual comments and polite laughter. But as they continued, it began to deepen naturally. They shared small personal stories, experiences from work, and hobbies that they enjoyed. There was a comfort in their dialogue, a sense of understanding that grew quietly but surely. She found herself laughing more freely than she had in weeks, enjoying the ease with which they connected. At one point, they stopped near a small fountain where water trickled softly, creating a peaceful rhythm. He pointed out a particular photograph that captured a local festival from years ago. She commented on the details, noticing things she hadn't seen before. They exchanged thoughts and memories, and slowly, the conversation drifted toward life, values, and dreams. She felt a surprising sense of trust and openness, as if she could share thoughts with him that she rarely expressed with anyone else. The afternoon sun began to dip, casting a warm orange glow across the garden. They moved toward a quiet bench beneath a large tree, continuing their conversation. He listened attentively when she spoke, nodding and asking questions that showed genuine interest. She realized that their connection was not just superficial. There was an ease, a subtle understanding that made the time pass quickly without either of them noticing. The casual coincidence of meeting at this event now felt strangely significant, as though something that started as chance was slowly unfolding into something more meaningful. They laughed over small, shared jokes, teasing each other lightly in a way that felt playful yet intimate. She remembered the joke from that party, the one about the dress and love-on. A small, quiet smile formed on her lips. She didn't say anything, just let herself enjoy the moment, the warmth of connection, and the lightness of being. Sometimes, life had a way of echoing little coincidences in ways that felt almost magical. As the evening drew closer, people began to leave the event, and the gentle chatter thinned. They walked together toward the exit, not wanting the conversation to end, but aware that their time was limited. At the door they paused, exchanging smiles that held unspoken words. He said, "It was really nice seeing you again. I didn't expect this." She nodded, her heart warming at his words, replying, "Me neither. It's been ... unexpectedly pleasant." There was a hint of shyness in her voice, a soft acknowledgement of the growing curiosity she felt toward him before parting ways. He suggested meeting again soon, perhaps for coffee or a quiet walk in the park. She agreed, her mind buzzing with anticipation and a mix of nervous excitement. As they finally went their separate ways, she felt a strange and delightful feeling of anticipation. The coincidence of their meeting had turned into something she couldn't easily dismiss. It was as if life had gently nudged her into an unexpected story, one that was just beginning to unfold. Walking back home, she thought about the dress she had chosen for the event, the simple, cheerful outfit that somehow seemed to mark the start of something new. The joke from the party returned to her mind again, and this time it felt different. It wasn't just a joke anymore. It was a gentle reminder that small, seemingly insignificant moments could lead to something extraordinary. The thought made her heart race in a way that was both exciting and comforting. She reflected on the conversation, the laughter, and the quiet understanding that had developed between them. It was strange how life sometimes worked, how a brief meeting months ago could suddenly resurface in a way that felt meaningful. She realized that she was looking forward to seeing him again, genuinely curious to learn more about the person he was and the connection that seemed to be forming between them that night. She went to bed with a mind full of thoughts, replaying the moments of the day and the unexpected encounter. She smiled softly to herself, feeling grateful for the surprise of the afternoon and the gentle reminder that life often had a way of bringing people together in unexpected ways. The dress, the joke, the chance meeting, it all seemed to weave together into the beginning of something that felt quietly but profoundly significant. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in a while, she felt a spark of excitement, a sense that something beautiful was starting to unfold. One moment at a time, over the next few weeks, their casual encounter at the community event blossomed into a series of meetings, each one filled with laughter, conversation, and moments that quietly deepened their connection. They met in small, ordinary ways coffee shops tucked into quiet streets, local parks with shaded benches, and small art galleries that offered a peaceful retreat from the usual noise of life. Each meeting was unplanned, yet felt intentional, as if the universe had arranged these moments to give them time to truly know each other. During these encounters, they discovered the little quirks and habits that made each of them unique. She noticed how he would always tuck a loose strand of hair behind his ear when he was concentrating, and he noticed how she would pause before speaking when she wanted to choose her words carefully. These small observations created an intimacy that went beyond simple friendship. They laughed at shared jokes, teased each other gently, and began to reveal personal stories, some lighthearted, some more thoughtful. With every conversation, they peeled back layers of themselves that had remained hidden from most people. Learning to trust and enjoy each other's company, one afternoon, they decided to take a walk along a quiet riverside path, the kind lined with trees that swayed gently in the breeze. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting playful shadows on the path, and the gentle flow of the water created a peaceful rhythm. They walked side by side, speaking softly about their lives, sharing dreams, and even admitting fears that they hadn't told anyone else. There was a comfort in the silence between them, a shared understanding that didn't need words. She felt a warmth in her chest she hadn't noticed before, a quiet happiness that came from being truly seen. They began to share their daily lives more openly, discussing things they enjoyed, books, movies, hobbies, and even favorite memories from childhood. She told him about the small moments that brought her joy, like the smell of fresh rain or the sound of birds in the morning. And he listened with genuine interest, sharing similar experiences from his life. It was a dance of understanding, a slow rhythm of giving and receiving, of listening and being heard. The connection grew stronger with each passing day, yet neither of them felt rushed. There was no pressure, only the quiet unfolding of a bond that felt increasingly important. Friends began to notice subtle changes as well. When they spent time together in groups, there was a new energy between them, a lightness, a playful banter, and a sense of ease that drew others in. Some would tease gently, referring back to the old joke about her dress, which made her laugh and blush at the same time. The joke, once just a fleeting remark, had now become a charming thread in the tapestry of their growing relationship. It reminded her that small, seemingly insignificant moments could have a surprising impact on life. One evening, they found themselves at a quiet cafe, the air filled with the rich aroma of coffee and the soft hum of conversation. They had been talking for hours, and the world outside seemed to fade. The discussion shifted to deeper topics, values, hopes, and what they wanted from life. She felt an unexpected vulnerability, a willingness to share thoughts she usually kept private. He responded with kindness and understanding, never judgmental, always encouraging. In that moment, she realized how rare it was to meet someone who could listen so completely, someone who could make her feel understood and accepted without any pretense. There were moments of lightheartedness, too, when they would laugh over small misunderstandings or playful comments. One day, while walking through a small bookstore, she reached for the same book as he did, and they laughed at the coincidence. These little instances, simple as they were, became memories she held on to, pieces of a growing story that was unfolding naturally. Life, she realized, was often made up of these small, seemingly ordinary moments that, when combined, created something extraordinary. They began to share more personal experiences from their pasts. She told him about times she had felt lost or unsure, moments when she had doubted herself or the direction her life was taking. He shared similar stories, revealing vulnerabilities that he didn't show to most people. Each confession, each shared memory, strengthened the trust between them. They were no longer just two people spending time together. They were companions, confidants, and soon something more profound. As weeks turned into months, the bond between them became undeniable. There was a rhythm to their meetings, a sense of anticipation and comfort that neither could ignore. They looked forward to seeing each other, their conversations flowing effortlessly from topic to topic. Even in silence, there was a connection, a quiet understanding that spoke louder than words. She noticed herself smiling more often, feeling lighter, and enjoying life in ways she hadn't before. They began to imagine shared experiences beyond their casual meetings. Simple dreams like taking weekend trips to nearby towns, attending local festivals, or cooking meals together. Each suggestion was met with excitement and laughter, a playful imagining of what life could be like together. The idea of a future, once distant and vague, began to feel tangible, as if their friendship was slowly shaping itself into something more lasting and meaningful. One afternoon, while sitting on a bench overlooking the river, he made a casual comment about the joke from that old party, the one about her dress and love. She laughed, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. It was a reminder of how far they had come, how a small, playful remark had led to something significant. They talked about it lightly, joking again. But there was an unspoken acknowledgement that the connection they shared had grown far beyond a casual laugh. It was a bond built on trust, laughter, and shared moments that mattered, even during ordinary days. When they were not together, she found herself thinking about him. Messages and calls became threads that connected them, keeping the warmth of their relationship alive between meetings. There was an excitement in anticipating the next conversation, the next meeting, a sense of life becoming richer and more meaningful. She realized that what had started as a casual, playful joke about a dress had quietly evolved into a relationship that brought joy, comfort, and a sense of possibility she hadn't expected, in those quiet moments alone. She reflected on how life had a way of weaving unexpected stories. A simple joke, a casual meeting, a shared laugh, they all became part of a narrative that was uniquely hers. She felt grateful for the chance encounters, for the small coincidences that had led her here, and for the growing bond that made her heart feel full. Each day with him added layers to a story that was unfolding beautifully. A story that was slowly, gently, but surely changing her life by the end of these months. It was clear that their relationship had moved beyond friendship, though neither had spoken of it explicitly yet. There was a closeness, a comfort, and a shared understanding that signaled something deeper. She felt a quiet excitement mixed with a hint of nervousness, wondering how he felt and when they might cross the line from connection to something more. There was a thrill in the uncertainty, a joy in discovering the possibilities of a relationship built on laughter, trust, and shared experiences. The world outside their meetings continued, with its routines and obligations, yet she carried with her the lightness and warmth of their connection. Even ordinary moments, a walk through a park, a visit to a cafe, or a quiet evening at home, felt brighter, more meaningful, because she knew that he existed in her life, and that their story was unfolding in ways that were slow, natural, and beautiful. She realized that sometimes the most profound experiences in life began quietly, without fanfare, and grew through simple, shared moments that left a lasting impact. She went to bed that night with a sense of contentment and anticipation. Life had taken an unexpected turn, transforming casual encounters into a growing connection that promised joy and companionship. The small joke about the dress, which had seemed so insignificant months ago, now felt like the gentle spark that had started it all. She didn't know exactly what the future held, but she felt ready to embrace it, to explore the possibilities, and to see where this quietly growing closeness might lead. Each day was a step forward, a chance to build memories, share laughter, and discover the depth of connection that had begun so unexpectedly but was now unmistakably real. Months of laughter, shared stories, and quiet understanding had passed, yet the bond between them felt stronger than ever. They had settled into a rhythm of spending time together, exploring life's small joys and quietly learning about each other's hearts. Yet, as in every story, there comes a moment when the lighthearted and easygoing days are met with a challenge that forces reflection and growth. It happened one evening when she received unexpected news from work, a sudden change in her responsibilities that left her overwhelmed. She had been looking forward to a calm week, but now the stress weighed heavily on her. She tried to hide it, telling herself that she could handle it alone, that it was just part of life. Yet, as the evening wore on, she felt a mix of frustration and fatigue that she couldn't shake. The world seemed heavier, and even small tasks felt daunting. He noticed immediately when they met for their usual coffee date. His eyes, attentive and concerned, asked the questions she didn't even voice. He didn't press, he just listened, letting her speak freely. She talked about the sudden workload, her worries about managing everything, and her fear of falling behind. His presence was steady, grounding, as if just being near him could ease the tension she felt inside. She realized in that moment how much his support mattered, how deeply she had come to rely on his understanding and quiet encouragement. They walked together afterward, moving through familiar streets that now seemed calm and comforting. The cool evening breeze brushed against her face, carrying the faint scent of flowers from nearby gardens. He asked gentle questions, offering small suggestions, but mostly he listened. There was no judgment, no rush, just a shared moment of understanding. She found herself relaxing in a way she hadn't expected, feeling lighter simply because he was there, paying attention and caring in ways that went beyond words. A few days later, she faced a personal challenge unrelated to work, an unexpected family matter that required her attention and emotional energy. She felt the weight of responsibility pressing down, and for the first time, she doubted whether she could handle it all. It was during this time that she realized how much he had become a part of her life, a steady presence she could rely on. She reached out to him almost instinctively, and he was there without hesitation, ready to listen, to offer comfort, and to stand by her side. One evening, as they sat together, watching the sunset from a small hill overlooking the town, their conversation turned to deeper topics. They spoke about life's uncertainties, the fears that often went unspoken, and the hope that kept them moving forward. She found herself opening up about feelings she rarely shared with anyone: the doubts, the vulnerabilities, and the quiet longing for someone to truly understand her. He responded with honesty and empathy, revealing his own fears and dreams, showing her that she was not alone in her worries or her hopes. The conversation naturally shifted to their relationship, though neither had spoken the words aloud before. She mentioned the old joke about the dress and marriage, laughing softly at the memory. He smiled, and there was a pause, a quiet acknowledgement of the bond that had grown between them. The joke, once a lighthearted remark, now felt symbolic, a gentle thread connecting their past interactions to the present. They realized, without forcing the moment, that their connection was no longer casual. It had become meaningful, deep, and significant. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting warm colors across the sky, he reached for her hand, a simple gesture that carried profound meaning. There was no grand declaration, no dramatic words, just a quiet, mutual understanding. Their eyes met, and in that glance, everything that had been building between them was acknowledged. She felt a rush of emotions: relief, joy, excitement, and a comforting sense of rightness. This was the moment where the playful, easygoing friendship transformed into a deliberate, heartfelt connection. They spent the following weeks exploring this new chapter of their relationship. They continued to share laughter and playful teasing, but now there was a depth, a conscious effort to nurture and protect the bond they had discovered. Every meeting, every conversation, carried the promise of something lasting. She noticed how naturally their lives intertwined, how decisions became shared, and how even small actions held significance. There was a sense of belonging, a feeling that they were no longer navigating life alone. Challenges continued to arise, as life often does, but they faced them together. Difficult days became opportunities to strengthen their trust and understanding. She learned to lean on him without fear of judgment, and he offered support with patience and compassion. Each obstacle, each unexpected event, became a testament to the strength of their connection. They realized that love was not just about happy moments, but about facing difficulties side by side, growing together, and finding joy even in adversity. One day, they revisited the place where they had met months ago at the community event. Standing there, she reflected on how far they had come: the casual meeting, the shared laughter, the playful jokes, and now the deep bond that had grown. It was a reminder that life often unfolded in unpredictable ways, that small moments could lead to profound change, and that love sometimes emerged quietly, without warning, but with undeniable force, as they walked back hand in hand. She felt a sense of clarity she had not experienced before. The joke about the dress and marriage, once just a fleeting remark, had played a subtle role in guiding her toward this connection. It was a gentle nudge from life, a reminder that sometimes the most unexpected events could lead to the most meaningful outcomes. She smiled softly, feeling gratitude for the journey, for the shared moments, and for the love that had quietly grown alongside laughter and trust by the end of this period. It was evident that their lives had shifted profoundly. What had started as casual encounters and playful banter had evolved into a deliberate, conscious choice to be present in each other's lives. They had faced challenges, shared vulnerabilities, discovered a depth of connection that was both comforting and exhilarating. The turning point had arrived, not with grand gestures or dramatic events, but through the quiet, persistent presence of care, understanding, and unwavering support. She went to bed that night feeling a profound sense of peace and excitement. Life had surprised her, as it often does, but in the best possible way. The bond they had built was no longer a question, but a living, breathing part of her life. She understood that love was not just about joy, but about shared experiences, trust, and the courage to be vulnerable. The joke, the dress, the unexpected encounters, all of it had led to this turning point. A moment of clarity and emotional depth that changed everything. She closed her eyes, heart full, ready to embrace the next steps of a journey that had begun in laughter and would continue in love, understanding, and shared life. The months that followed the turning point were filled with a quiet, steady joy. Their bond, which had begun with a playful joke and casual encounters, now flourished into a meaningful relationship built on trust, laughter, and shared experiences. Life felt richer, more vibrant, and even the ordinary moments held a new significance. Every coffee, walk, or simple conversation became a cherished memory, a reminder of how far they had come together. They explored life together in ways that were gentle yet profound. Simple weekends became adventures, morning walks in quiet parks, afternoons at little bookshops, and evenings cooking meals together. Every activity, no matter how small, was imbued with the warmth of companionship. She noticed how his presence made even mundane tasks enjoyable, how the smallest gestures, a smile, a touch, a shared glance, carried meaning. He, in turn, appreciated her humor, her insights, and the kindness she brought into every interaction. Their relationship was a dance of mutual care and attention, a harmony that made life feel unexpectedly full. Friends began to notice a subtle glow in her demeanor. There was a lightness in the way she carried herself, a brightness in her eyes that hadn't been there before. When asked about it, she would laugh softly, deflecting with a casual comment about life being good. Yet, beneath the humor, there was a quiet pride in the growth of her relationship. She felt fortunate to have found someone who not only understood her, but also encouraged her to embrace life fully, to laugh freely, and to trust in the journey. One afternoon, they revisited the small garden where the original joke about the dress had taken place. Standing there, surrounded by familiar sights and sounds, she reflected on the journey they had shared. The casual remark, once laughed off as nothing more than a joke, had become a symbolic starting point for something far greater than either of them could have imagined. They laughed together at the memory, the ease and playfulness of their connection, reaffirming how far they had come. It was a testament to the unpredictable, sometimes whimsical nature of life, and how small moments could lead to profound change. As the months progressed, they began to consider the future together. Conversations about shared dreams, plans, and goals became a natural part of their interactions. They talked about traveling to new places, learning new skills together, and supporting each other's personal ambitions. There was no rush, no pressure, just a steady, mutual understanding that they wanted to build a life filled with shared experiences. Each conversation deepened their trust and reinforced the sense of partnership that had grown between them. They faced challenges as well, though none as intense as the earlier personal and professional obstacles. Minor disagreements and differences in opinion emerged as they naturally would in any close relationship. Yet, these moments were opportunities to strengthen communication, practice patience, and understand each other better. She realized that love was not only about joy and laughter, but also about navigating disagreements with empathy and respect. Every challenge they faced together solidified their bond, making it more resilient and meaningful. One evening, during a quiet walk through a tree-lined street, he paused to point out the twinkling lights of the town reflecting in a nearby river. The scene was serene, yet there was an energy in the air that felt like a gentle invitation. He looked at her with a smile that was both playful and sincere, and she felt a flutter of anticipation. It was one of those moments where the world seemed to pause, leaving only the two of them, the soft sounds of the night and the warmth of connection. Without words, they understood that their relationship had reached a point of commitment, a place where love was not only felt, but acknowledged and embraced. The bond they shared was no longer tentative. It was intentional and heartfelt. They celebrated small victories, comforted each other during setbacks, and shared dreams that extended beyond the present moment. There was a rhythm to their lives that was comforting, a balance of independence and togetherness that allowed each to grow while remaining connected. Life felt expansive and promising, filled with moments of laughter, quiet reflection, and shared joy. Friends and family observed the transformation as well, noting the change in how she carried herself and the happiness that radiated from her. They marveled at how a simple, playful joke could lead to such a profound connection. Conversations about love and relationships took on a new dimension. As she spoke openly about the journey, the unexpected encounters, and the slow unfolding of something truly meaningful, her story became an inspiration. A reminder that life often works in mysterious ways, and that small, seemingly insignificant moments can have lasting impact. As time passed, she found herself reflecting often on the journey, from the playful joke to the deep connection she now cherished. She realized that life had a way of leading people to each other in unexpected ways, sometimes through coincidence, sometimes through gentle nudges that guided the heart. The dress, the initial laughter, and the casual meetings were all threads woven into a larger story, a story of trust, growth, and the quiet magic of human connection. They celebrated milestones together, not with grand gestures or lavish events, but through meaningful experiences that reflected their shared journey. A simple dinner, a walk in the park, or a moment of quiet conversation held profound significance. Each day, each shared smile became a building block in the foundation of their relationship. She felt a sense of gratitude for the love and understanding that had grown naturally, steadily, and beautifully over time. Even during quiet moments alone, she carried the warmth of their connection with her. Daily routines were infused with a subtle joy, small reminders of their shared experiences and anticipation for future moments together. She realized that love was not just an emotion, but a way of living, conscious choice to nurture and celebrate the bond that had formed. It was a presence that brought comfort, excitement, and a sense of purpose, transforming ordinary life into something extraordinary in the end. What began as a lighthearted joke about a dress and marriage had evolved into a profound, life-changing connection. The casual remarks, playful encounters, and gentle surprises of life had all led to this point, a relationship built on laughter, trust, understanding, and shared joy. She smiled, recognizing how unpredictable and wonderful life could be, how small moments could change everything, and how love, when it grew naturally, could transform not just individual days, but an entire life. She went to bed one night, heart full, feeling a quiet contentment that was both comforting and exhilarating. Life had changed in ways she hadn't anticipated, all beginning with something as simple as a joke, a dress, and a chance encounter. The journey had been gradual, filled with laughter, reflection, and shared experiences, yet the impact was profound. She understood that love could arrive softly, quietly, and unexpectedly, yet leave a permanent mark, shaping life in the most beautiful and unexpected ways. The story of that journey remained alive in her heart, a reminder of the power of small moments and the extraordinary possibilities of human connection. Life after the turning point, and the deepening of their relationship, continued to evolve in ways that were both predictable and surprising. While their bond had already grown strong, the months that followed brought new experiences, challenges, and joys that allowed them to explore their connection more fully. Each day carried the potential for discovery, and they embraced life together with a sense of curiosity, respect, and care. They began to travel to nearby towns and countryside locations on weekends, exploring small cafes, local markets, and scenic spots. These trips, though simple, felt like adventures because they were shared experiences. Every discovery, from a hidden waterfall to a tiny bookshop tucked away in a quiet street, became a memory they could treasure together. She loved seeing the world through his eyes, noticing details and beauty she might have overlooked, while he appreciated her keen observations and her ability to turn even the smallest moment into something meaningful. Even at home, he found joy in the everyday. Cooking meals together became a ritual, filled with laughter as they experimented with recipes, occasionally creating accidental messes that left them giggling. They found comfort in sharing chores and supporting each other's routines, recognizing that love was expressed not only in grand gestures, but also in small acts of care. The warmth of their shared domestic life brought a new level of intimacy, a sense of being partners not just in fun and laughter, but in the responsibilities of daily living. One evening, while sitting on the balcony watching the sunset, they reflected on the journey that had brought them together. She spoke about the joke from months ago, the one about the dress and marriage, and they both laughed at how something so trivial could have set in motion a chain of events leading to where they were now. It was a gentle reminder of life's unpredictability, of how small moments could create ripples that changed the course of their lives. They marveled at the unexpected nature of love and how patience, trust, openness had allowed it to grow naturally. Their conversations continued to deepen, exploring hopes, dreams, and even fears. She learned about his childhood aspirations, the moments of doubt that shaped him, and the lessons he had carried into adulthood. He learned about her experiences, the challenges she had faced, and the resilience that had carried her through difficult times. These discussions were never rushed or forced. They unfolded at their own pace, guided by mutual respect and a genuine desire to understand each other fully. With each conversation, the bond of trust and emotional intimacy strengthened, creating a foundation that felt secure and enduring. Challenges did not disappear, of course. Life had a way of testing their patience and commitment, whether through work-related stress, unexpected events, or personal struggles. Yet, they faced each obstacle together, learning to communicate effectively and support one another. She noticed that even in moments of tension, their ability to listen, empathize, and compromise allowed them to navigate difficulties without undermining the trust and love that had grown. Each challenge became an opportunity to deepen their understanding and appreciation for each other. They also found joy in celebrating milestones, both big and small. Birthdays, achievements at work, or even completing a challenging task became occasions for shared celebration. These moments reinforced the sense of partnership they had developed and highlighted the immense joy of experiencing life's highs together. She cherished the laughter, the shared excitement, the gentle support that came naturally from being with someone who truly cared. Each celebration was a reminder of how far they had come, and how strong their connection had become. Friendships and social interactions also played an important role in their journey. Friends would often comment on the positive changes they noticed, how they seemed more confident, joyful, and grounded. Occasionally, they would revisit old memories, recalling the joke about the dress and the events that followed. These moments were always met with laughter, a sense of nostalgia, and a quiet acknowledgement of the journey that had led them to where they were. It was a reminder that life's smallest moments, when embraced fully, could lead to profound outcomes. As their relationship matured, they began to discuss the future more seriously. While there was no rush, they explored long-term possibilities, living arrangements, shared responsibilities, and future dreams. These conversations were grounded in practicality, but filled with hope and excitement. They discovered that planning together was not about controlling the future, but about understanding each other's expectations, creating alignment and supporting one another's growth. The process itself strengthened their partnership, reinforcing trust and communication. Evenings were often spent in quiet reflection or gentle activities, such as reading together, listening to music, or simply talking about their day. These simple routines became precious rituals, moments to reconnect, decompress, and nurture their bond. She realized that love was not only in the grand gestures, but also in the consistency of care, the patience to listen, and the willingness to be present. These daily practices created a rhythm that felt both comforting and meaningful. One memorable day, they revisited the first place they had met months ago, the community event, where their casual encounter had sparked their connection. Standing there, observing the familiar surroundings, they reflected on how much had changed. The joke about the dress, once a fleeting moment of laughter, now symbolized the beginning of a journey filled with love, trust, and shared growth. They felt gratitude for the small coincidences, the playful beginnings, and the careful unfolding of their relationship. It was a moment to honor the past while embracing the present and future together. Their relationship also deepened through mutual support and personal growth. She encouraged him to pursue creative projects he had long dreamed of, while he supported her ambitions and helped her navigate challenges with confidence. This mutual encouragement fostered a sense of teamwork, reinforcing that they were not only partners in love, but also in life. They celebrated each other's successes, no matter how small, and provided comfort during setbacks, strengthening the emotional foundation of their bond. As seasons changed, they experienced the beauty of life's cycles together: spring blossoms, summer warmth, autumn leaves, and winter quiet. Each season brought new experiences, new reflections, and new ways to enjoy one another's company. Whether it was a picnic under blooming trees, a rainy afternoon spent indoors, or a quiet winter evening by the fireplace, each moment became a cherished memory. She felt that life was richer and more vivid simply because they shared it together. Through it all, the playful spirit that had marked the beginning of their relationship remained. Jokes, laughter, and lighthearted teasing continued to punctuate their interactions, reminding them that love did not need to be solemn to be profound. They discovered that joy and seriousness could coexist, creating a balanced and fulfilling connection. Even small references to the original joke about the dress brought smiles and a sense of continuity, a gentle reminder of the journey that had brought them together. As time passed, their relationship solidified into a deep, lasting partnership. The foundation of trust, shared experiences, and emotional intimacy provided stability, while the playful moments and shared laughter added warmth and vitality. Life felt fuller, more meaningful, and rich with possibilities. She realized that the unexpected, the playful, and the ordinary could all combine to create something extraordinary. When nurtured with care and attention, she often reflected on the journey from the first casual joke to the profound connection they now shared. Life had guided them in unexpected ways, teaching patience, trust, and the importance of embracing small moments. The dress, the playful laughter, the shared walks and conversations, all of it had contributed to a love that was authentic, nurturing, and life-changing. She felt grateful not only for the relationship, but also for the journey itself, for the lessons learned, and for the joy of discovering love in such a gentle, organic way. One evening, as they sat quietly watching the sunset, she felt a deep sense of contentment. Life had changed in ways she had never imagined, guided by a combination of chance, courage, and the willingness to embrace the unexpected. The joke, the dress, and the casual beginnings had led to a profound connection that brought joy, comfort, and meaning to her life. She held his hand, feeling the steady presence and warmth that had become a constant in her world. It was a quiet acknowledgement of everything they had shared and everything that lay ahead. The story of their journey became a testament to the power of small moments, the beauty of patience, and the unexpected ways life can unfold. She understood that love was not just about passion or excitement, but also about presence, understanding, and shared growth. Each day became an opportunity to nurture the bond, to celebrate the ordinary, and to embrace the extraordinary possibilities that life offered. Through laughter, care, and shared experiences, they had created a connection that would continue to shape their lives in profound and meaningful ways. She closed her eyes that night, heart full, feeling the quiet, enduring joy of a relationship built on trust, love, and shared moments. Life had changed, not through grand gestures alone, but through the gentle accumulation of small, meaningful experiences that had led to a love both deep and sustaining. And as she drifted to sleep, she knew that the journey was far from over. It was only growing richer, brighter, and more beautiful with each passing day. A testament to the power of connection, the magic of unexpected beginnings, and the enduring beauty of love nurtured with care and presence.